Hello everyone, Father of the Everchosen here, back in Total War Warhammer 2, bringing you our first Greenskin quick battle post the Warden and the Paunch DLC. We're going to go through my opponent's army real quick, and then we'll drop back over towards mine. So my opponent is playing the High Elves. He has brought a Moon Dragon, Teclis, up on his Arcane Phoenix mount. He has brought 2 White Lions of Trace, 3 Silveran Guard, the Talons of Tor Kaleda, the new ROR archers. He has also brought a unit of the Sisters of Avalorn and 2 Spearman units. So he, I'm assuming, is hoping to just hold with the Silveran Guard, use the Moon Dragon and Teclis to do high burst damage, and then use the Sisters of Avalorn and the Talons of Tor Kaleda to just continuously pepper my units. So going back over to mine, I've got 2 Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. I have them for the immune to psychology, the poison, the anti-infantry, and the weapon, or the armor piercing damage. I've got a Goblin Big Boss with his full loadout. He's still got Slippery. He's got a Potion of Foolhardiness. They need Stabbing, and the Sword of Anti-Heroes. This new ability, They Need Stabbing, is devastating, and especially on somebody like Teclis, minus 30 armor and minus 24 melee defense. That'll drop Teclis down to 20 armor and 16 melee defense. That is not a place I'd want to be as Teclis with not the greatest melee stats. I've also brought an Arachnarok Spider, the Loogie Boogie Spore Splota Snotling Pump Wagon, 2 units of Orc Boys, 2 Savage Orc Biguns, a unit of Black Orcs, the new Giant River Troll Hag, and I found that the Giant River Troll Hag, bringing her with the Assault of Stone, the Assault of Stone is probably just about where it should be price-wise, but it's definitely a strong ability that has a pretty quick cast time that, if your opponent isn't paying attention, can truly devastate a unit. And I have brought Wurrzag, and Wurrzag has Brain Bursta and Foot of Gork. So we'll jump in here. As soon as I see my opponent has deployed off to the left side, I shift my forces towards the woods, but I do bring the Loogie Boogie Spore Splotas up and around. Teclis and the Moon Dragon are both hunting at this point, seeing if I have anything deployed. And I figure it's best to move the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers off this way. And if I can bait out a Moon Dragon to use one of its breath attacks or just chase the Squig Hoppers, I would rather have him go after them than, let's say my Black Orcs or my Savage Orc Biguns for the time being. Teclis passes overhead. He spots my Goblin Big Boss, but he ignores everybody, and he is going to go after these Night Goblin Squig Hoppers along with his Moon Dragon. He ignores my first unit of Squig Hoppers. And at this point, I'm really just going to try to advance and take out his army while he is occupied elsewhere. I'm going to pull out the Goblin Big Boss here in just a moment, because Teclis is going to catch these Squig Hoppers. And the Squig Hoppers, being immune to psychology, they're going to stay in combat over here with Teclis for quite some time. And he doesn't have any cavalry, so he isn't going to be able to chase my Goblin Big Boss. 92 speed is faster than anything he has, save for maybe Teclis himself. And even at that, Teclis is only just faster. So they're engaged in combat over here. Like I said, Big Boss is going that way. The Arachnarok's coming in. I also pulled the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers up here but he notices them with the Moon Dragon. And I kind of, if you've watched me throughout my time here on YouTube, you notice that my micro isn't maybe the best. Kind of lose track of Wurrzag here, and he's getting peppered, and the Loogie Boogie Spore Explodas kind of get left out. I hit the Talons of Torquelada with a Brain Burster, but at this point, you know, now it's time to get involved in the melee. My opponent tries to do a devastating attack across both the Orc Boys and the Savage Orc Biggins. Only hits my Savage Orcs, and they'll be engaged against these Silverian Guard for quite some time. My Goblin Big Boss will go down to slow-mo. Engages with Teclis over here, hitting him with the They Need Stabbing, and Teclis starts going down quite a bit. I'm trying to take Teclis out as quickly as I can, which can be a bit of a challenge now that, especially with Teclis' mobility now, and the Potion of Chiroi and Regrowth that he can cast on himself. He is a very long-lived, lord, especially for a caster. So I've got Orc Boys against the Spearmen, Savage Orcs against Silverian Guard, Black Orcs versus White Lions, along with the Giant River Troll Hag. Wurrzag's over here. I got my Savage Orcs against the Silverian Guard along with the Arachnarok, and these Orc Boys are going to get engaged over here. Again, like I said, the Loogie Boogies kind of get left behind, which is unfortunate because I could be using them, but my Squig Hoppers get in here, disrupting the Talons of Torquelada. And at this point, I'm just trying to keep everybody alive and doing the best that they can. I get my WAAAGH off, so everything's going to start being quite devastating. Over here, I believe this is going to be a foot. It's a pretty devastating foot. Wurrzag's up with 54 kills. Wurrzag's coming over here to try to take on Teclis. I do hit him with Effigy of the Git, and he is going to be held over there for a while. I should have committed Wurrzag over to this fight, and Teclis would have dropped, but I do not. Kind of come back over here and focus on this fight. I hit the Moon Dragon with Mither and a Spirit Leech, trying to take it down. And the balance of power is slowly shifting in my favor. If you looked at the beginning, the balance of power was not in my favor. Giant River Troll Hag still bebopping around, trying to do her best. And now that I'm in the back lines, I'm just trying to make sure that I hit everything over here. Teclis gets us with the Net of Amantok and gets away with his 1,223 hit points. But at this point, my opponent has so many things routing and so many things pinned down that he is not in the greatest situation. Again, the Loogie Boogie Spore Explodas are still sitting over here. Really need to work on paying attention to that. The Arachnarok's chasing off Silverian Guard. Night Goblin Squig Hoppers are bouncing around over here. I got my Black Orcs fighting the Sisters of Avalorn, and the Black Orcs are still have 60 models. Big Boss comes back, which is good for me. Still have these Squig Hoppers, and Wurrzag's still kicking for the time being. So at this point, my opponent is just trying to see where the best place to take the engagement is. He really only has his archers left. I end up hitting the Moon Dragon with a Spirit Leech, but Wurrzag does get caught. Getting another WAAAGH off is good, and the Get Back Ear is really just to keep Wurrzag from routing, but Teclis gets a hold of him, and Wurrzag is not doing too good right now. The Moon Dragon is engaged by the Savage Orcs, the Black Orcs, and the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. I do try to save Wurrzag here with the River Troll Hag and the Goblin Big Boss. But Wurrzag does route off. But Teclis gets smashed with the combined mights of the Goblin Big Boss and the Giant River Troll Hag. The Sword of Anti-Heroes is a very decent item to equip on the Big Boss, especially with the buff that he can, or the debuff that he can apply. Wurrzag still sitting with 35 hit points. He is going to get killed momentarily. But my opponent really doesn't have anything left. He's got some Silverian Guard over here. He has White Lions of Trace here, and the Sisters of Avalon are getting engaged by the Giant River Troll Hag. And at this point, my opponent really just has his dragon left. And the dragon can do quite a bit of work, but with it having to stay on the ground, it just isn't in a good place. Again, the Loogie Boogie Sports Bloat is now finally get reactivated. And I know the battle probably was only 7 minutes, but that's probably about 5 minutes that unit sat over there and could have been assisting. And like I said, if you look at the beginning of the battle again, I was behind in the balance of power. These spearmen are going to be made mincemeat by the Ragnarok. And at this point, it's really just the Silverian Guard. And my opponent sees the writing on the walls. Moondragon gets Spirit Leeched again. And I can't remember if he conceded defeat right before the end or if leadership just broke across. If he did concede, it was because the writing was about to be completed on the walls. So I walk away with a pretty decent victory. Again, the Loogie Boogie Sports Bloaters should have been coming back in here. And if I would have just activated Wurrzag a little bit earlier to get over by Teclis, I might have gotten him out of the battle a little bit earlier. But Wurrzag does walk away with 54 kills. Not bad. The Goblin Big Boss, even though he only walked away with 4, he brought Teclis down so low. The River Troll Hag is just a nice unit to have around. Hitting the Moondragon with Mither and the Spirit Leeches. Spirit Leech is just a very good spell. I think 8 Winds of Magic might be a bit hefty for its cost, and especially its range. But other than that, everything did relatively good. Again, Loogie Boogie Sports Bloaters, 0 kills. And I think it's a 1,000 gold unit. These Night Goblins Quick Hoppers, though they got 0 kills, they were involved in the fight with Teclis. But Savage Orcs, walking away doing really good. My Black Orcs didn't lose a single unit model, walked away with 61 kills. Orc Boys didn't do too bad. Truthfully, I would say that my opponent's biggest mistake was getting Teclis trapped and then having the Moondragon chase off the Loogie Boogie Sports Bloater. He should have waited till he got a little closer. Obviously if it hit any of his units, it would have been devastating. But having that Moondragon away while I initially engaged everybody was bad. He could have picked some of his engagements a little better. Especially with these White Lions walking away with 0 kills. They could have been engaged with the Orc Boys, and they might have done better. And the Sisters of Avalon and the Talons of Torquilada, I know they did most of the damage against Wurrzag and some of these other units, but walking away with only 10 kills for, I think that might be 2,100 or 2,300 points. We'll take a look in just a sec. That's, not worth it for those units, And 14 kills on the Moondragon, he should have been using breath weapons on the Black Orcs or trying to engage the Ragnarok. And again, with support from Teclis, he would have been okay against the Ragnarok. So we'll go take a peek in custom battle real quick. Alright, Greenskins, the Loogie Boogie Spore Splota, is actually only 700 points. Still, walking away with no kills, not exactly what I would want. And then the High Elves, looking at the Talons of Torquelada and the Sisters of Avalon, 1,900 points for 10 kills. With 1,900 points, he could have had, 2 Silver Helms. And, getting those rear charges. I mean, as I said, the Talons of Torquelada and the Sisters of Avalon pretty much single-handedly took down Wurrzag. But that cavalry could have been useful. Or just, grab, archers with light armor. You could have 3 of them. Or, some Phoenix Guard. Or, another hero, maybe a noble. Or, if you watch me, I like the Lore Master of Hoeth. It would have been just nice to have something else. It has Spirit Leech. It has Earthblood. It could have just been an additional buff to have. Or you could have sprung for a Star Dragon. And still had, 1,500 points. And you could have brought, 2 Lothran Seaguard with shields. Which still probably could have taken out Wurrzag because I forgot about him. But, my opponent played as well as he could. And I thank him for a good fight. I hope you all enjoyed watching that. If you did, please leave a like or a comment with some feedback down below. If you like the content that I'm putting out, especially this new content, post Warden and the Paunch, or even my Divide and Conquer content from Total War Medieval 2, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel grow, and the bigger the channel gets, the better and more numerous the content will become. So thank you all, and as always, I've been Father of the Everchosen.